ballot, and it is now before you on the November 4th ballot. So, if you look at this, one of the questions I often get is, well, why are you doing this now? Why is this so important now? And there are two forces that are dramatically increasing costs in infrastructure. The first is general inflation. Your guess is as good as mine in what that will be. I don't know. Obviously, there's a tendency for upward pressure on prices. But more importantly and more dangerously, we're talking about structures, and structures decay. And this is a great example with streets. We now have the street work that we're able to do in this city is 12 miles a year. We're falling behind every year. We only spend money now on replacing streets because they're failing. So you have to go back and scrape the top and score the road. You've seen how this gets done. Slurry seal, which is how you maintain and repair streets, is what you'd like to do. We have no funds for that. And here's the problem. To repair a street with slurry seal is 30 cents a square foot. To replace a street is $6 a square foot. And we're adding to the replacement category every year in this city over 5 miles of streets. We're getting further and further behind, and the cost is 20 times as much. So what the problem is that if we don't get ahead of this and don't get a program to fix what's wrong and maintain it from then on, we are going to get to the point where it may outstrip our fiscal ability to solve this problem. 5 years ago, the projects that are outlined in that handout were 45% less expensive. I'm fully confident that 5 years from now, they will be at least 45% more expensive, which means that I or some other mayor 5 years from now is going to be talking to you not about a $570 million proposal, but an $850 or $900 million proposal. It's not going to get cheaper. It's not going away. It is going to stay with us. We're not going to get saved by Washington or Sacramento. We have to solve this problem. Or we're not going to be the city we want to be. Our property values will decline. We will be unable to attract quality businesses or residents with more disposable income, all of which are already happening. So what am I asking you to do, and how will it work? What I'm asking the residents of this city to do, because I want to also illustrate that I often get the question, well, why aren't we doing this out of existing revenues? We have a $404 million general fund. 2/3 of that general fund is for public safety. So fire and police. If you remove fire and police from the equation, because there's no appetite to cut those services, you have $125 million in the general fund to do everything else. All of parks, all of public works, all of libraries and library services, the prosecutor, the auditor, everything we do in the city, $125 million. There's $2.1 million in that general fund for infrastructure. It all goes to sidewalk work. That's it. The only money we use on streets comes from the state of California under Prop 42 or under Prop 1B. It's dedicated to streets. We use it. That's the money we use to replace streets. So there is no prospect in the general fund in the near future of ever getting the kind of money we need to fix things. We're falling behind, and we're way behind the curve. To give you an example, we do 12 miles a year. In order just to stay even with degradation, you'd have to do somewhere around 25 or 30 miles a year of streets just to stay even. We don't have the fiscal resources to do that. So we could ignore this, and I could do what the state government and federal government does, is kick the can down the road, and what you might argue has been done for a while, and just let somebody else worry about it. I can't do that. I told you when I ran for mayor I would do certain things, and I've tried to live up to every one of them. I said I would put more police on the street. We now have 80 more officers on the street than we did 2 years ago. I said I would put vocational education back in the schools. We now have an ACE Academy at Jordan High School, architecture, construction, engineering, training high school kids about the fundamentals of construction, engineering, and architecture so they can go into the trades if they want and have a quality job and a good career. I said I would reduce pollution at the port. We now have a 5-year program with $2 billion backing it up to cut pollution in this port by almost 50% in the next 5 years. That program has already started with the Clean Trucks program and our volunteer program on having ships go to distillate fuel. And I said I would put people from all over the city, particularly the west side, on our boards and commissions. My first harbor commissioner was Nick Stramick, who lives right in the diesel death zone in West Long Beach. We put the first planning commissioner from the 9th district on the planning commission. There are, I think, 1 or 2 planning commissioners from this district on the planning commission. I tried to make good on those things, and I said I would fix infrastructure, or at least attempt to fix it. A year ago in the budget, I said it was important to address this problem, and as I said in the state of the city, I said I would put a bond issue before the council, and I've done that. That's what's before you, Measure I. So what will Measure I do? It's a special tax